Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the finest Dawn of War Unification cast this side of East Yorkshire. And today over 1 versus 1 on Titanfall. Over in the Emperor's Children corner we have Yazoo 55, whereas over in the Orc corner we have got Shakma. Shakma going to be opening with double Slugger Boys, a Grot Squad, Boys Hut and a Generator, whereas the Emperor's Children are going to go for double Pleasure Cultists, a Pleasure Slave, a Slaaneshi Lord, a Possessed Conjurer and a Warp Turbine. So both factions not afraid of getting into close combat. Slugger Boys obviously with their big old choppers. Pleasure Cultists with their whips and chains. The Noise Marines dropping the base from short range, and the Slaaneshi Lord, a very, very good Lord in fact, is probably able to 1v1 the big mech. So the big mech is going to have to watch and be careful if he wants to make a big impact in the early to mid game. Be interesting to see which path that the Emperor's Children go for. If they go for a demon kind of build, then I imagine that the Orc player will have to go for lots of flamethrowers to go through their demon armour. And if they go through for Noise Marines, I mean, what would the Orcs go for? I assume maybe like one squad of Storm Boys to keep them on their toes. Maybe just a whole load of Shooter Boys with their big shooters to fire and outrange them. We'll have to see, who knows? In this crazy game of Unification. These Pleasure Cultists are going to spot these Slugger Boys and will engage in close combat with them. Will absolutely slap them around, punching them over. They might be small. I mean, look at the size of these ladies. They are absolutely tiny, but they do pack a punch. I mean, hell, even when the Grots come in, I mean, these Grots are more or less the same size as these ladies. That's either really big Grots or really small women, not entirely sure. Pleasure Slaves are on the way. Big mech teleporting in. Will be shaking his gun in an angry manner towards these Pleasure Slaves. No point in chasing after them, as chasing in melee is a bit of a moot point. And the big mech does a fair bit of damage at range anyway, so may as well go for it. We do have a, if I could do a little bit of a cinematic thing over here, a Slaaneshi Lord round the side of the building. He will be chasing after this big mech. His primary objective is to get him offline. These guys engaging in a bit of gunslinging. I mean, look at how quickly that the big mech's health goes in comparison to the Slaaneshi Lord. Big mech not wanting to tussle with that hustle. Pleasure Cultists engaging in some close combat with these Slugger Boys. Pound for pound, the Pleasure Cultists do a little bit more close combat damage, as opposed to the Orcs who do a little bit more range damage, which is a bit counterproductive in my brain, but here we go. Slugger Boys holding their own there. Pleasure Cultists, oh sorry, Pleasure Slaves, you know, they like to watch, I assume, so that's what they're doing. What else is going on the battlefield at the moment? Big Mac still being chased around by the Slaaneshi Lord. We have some Noise Marines coming along, ready to put some Billy Ray Cyrus into their old cassette players. Don't break their heart, their achy breaky heart, though I don't think the Orcs even understand. Slugger Boys over here, well, just Slugger Boy, no need for a plural. Looks like he's going the way of deadness. Well, mind you, Big Mech coming in, hero of the day, going to save this Orc unit from a death most pleasurable and painful. Slaaneshi Lord seeing this tier 2 listening post will be able to cut through its armour fairly quickly. We've got some infiltrated Grotster moving in, going to be trying to keep it alive, but I doubt that they'll be able to keep it online for very long, considering that the Slaaneshi Lord as well as Noise Marines have taken their space drugs to increase their overall damage. Pleasure Cultists are going to try and do the same on the other side of the map, although I don't think they'll be able to have the same kind of impact. They are very, very squishy, these ladies. Will be quickly taken down, no questions asked. And the Big Mech, where's he gone? Ah, the Big Mech is down here, going to be doing some counter-bashing of his own, using his Power Claw to make short work of that point of excess. The Noise Marines dropping the base on his face, and they will be killing them all fairly quickly, taking that Space Cocaine, and it does look like that the Big Mech is going to go down unless he decides to teleport in a clutch moment in the last minute. There's no more jumping juice in his jetpack, and he will be taken down. One Slugger Boy managing to narrowly escape from a distance. Listening post over here, not been built up by any Grots as of yet. 68 and 6 for the Emperor's Children compared to the 86 and 10. Big Mech is going to be instantly replaced. Not sure if that is the way forward, as the Big Mech doesn't seem to be having that much of an impact. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's got... To be fair, actually no, maybe I'll take that back. He's got some utility in teleporting around the terrain features of this map. Grot's trying to keep this listing post alive. Slugger Boys, he's got a friend now. We won't be engaging too much with those Noise Marines. These Slugger Boys over here are also not having the best of times. The Orks don't seem to be making that much of an impact on the battlefield at the moment. I mean, they have got a bit of a blue money advantage. Pursuit of Education? Pursuit of Perfection being built up by the Emperor's Children. Speaking of education, this Friday in the UK, lots of teachers are breaking up for their summer break, so I do wish that if you are a viewer who is working in education, whether in England or abroad, wherever you are in the world, please do enjoy your summer holidays. I imagine for many of us it's our first big summer holiday without all this COVID nonsense. And now is the time to get drunk and have a merry old time in the sunshine. If you could bear the sunshine, of course. I mean, it is a little bit too warm for many people at the moment. Listing first over here. Once again, going to be slashed down by the Slaaneshi Lord. Will cut down this Ork blue money advantage. War banners are being built up. So yeah, what should the Ork do at the moment? He's going for some heavy boy armour. Against these Noise Marines, the Slugger Boys aren't cutting it. Like I said, I think maybe some Storm Boys might be the answer. Or just some Shooter Boys with some big shooters. Now that you've got the pile of guns on the field, that might be the play to make. Noise Marines just moseying on into the base. Ready to drop the buttery biscuit base on the listening post over here. Do apologise, I will stop the puns at some point. Big Mech back out on the field. Will now attack this point of access. Bit of a listening post trade. But maybe not an effective trade, because once this listening post goes down, all these war banners and all these, well, singular, not a plural, generator will go down. So unless your Lord there, not feeling too confident, will move away from the base, deciding to maybe have a little sniff at this listening post over here. Now have two squads of Noise Marines going on over here. So Emperor's Children investing a lot in the Tier 1, although they will be going for Tier 2 as well. Orks now in Tier 2 as well. Grots are going to come over and try and once again save this listening post. Big Mech and the boys need to pull something out. Gonna go for some knobs instead. Okie dokie then. Who needs Storm Boys when you can get the big old lads out? Give them some power claws, get them in nice and close and personal, and watch them cut these guys up like paper mache in an arts and crafts lesson. Although, mind you, to be fair, maybe power claw is not probably the... I mean, it's need tier 3 for that. So probably won't be seeing that this game. Big Mech going to be taking down 1 and possibly 2 Noise Marines. Noise Marines, though, when they have their combat drugs activated, I do believe that they are immune, well, not immune from damage, but immune from dying. Although Space Cocaine can only keep them online for so long. Noise Marines taking down this strategic point over here. Does look like there's a second Nob squad as well. So Orks have the potential for turning this around. Noise Marines aren't so keen on taking down the heavy infantry of the Nobs. Nobs will now engage in close combat. Be able to knock around these Noise Marines. No dramas. So even the Slaaneshi Lord won't be able to stand up very long against the Big Mech and the boys. Being brought down incredibly low. Will take some... Does he take some Space Cocaine? No, he doesn't take some Space Cocaine. He just takes a pistol in the face from this Nob leader. Which is a big loss for the Emperor's Children. That Slaaneshi Lord was quite the linchpin of the group. Was able to bring down a lot of DPS to bear on specific targets. And now the Nobs are going to be chasing these guys probably all the way back to base. And they're taking the Space Cocaine, which will increase their damage output, but while they're moving, the Noise Marines can't move and fire at the same time. They do have a little setup time. They are going to fall back from the protective layers of these points of excess with their shooty bits on. So unless your Lord are going to be re-recruited. But with no Demonettes on the field, with nothing else to transition in, I mean, they might go for some Hell Talons or Heavy Talons or whatever you call the jumping unit for the Emperor's Children. Ah, there we go. Warp Talon Band. See? I was almost correct, which is more or less the same as being correct in my humble opinion. It's a bit like a Benny Hill sketch at the moment. Noise Marine though, this squad over here, been brought low down to one whole model. Nob squad now at 11. These boys also go for 11. They've been auto-replaced, so they're going to be a lot of Nobs on the field. I mean, look at that, 9,500 health more or less. These are guys that are going to be very, very difficult to shift off without some severe DPS. Do have some pleasure cultists over here, just kind of chilling out. Yazoo is probably focusing a lot on the micro and macro all going on in the base at the moment. Very difficult to get your economy going on the other side of the map when you've got to constantly move your lads around. Nob squad though over here losing a couple of models. Does look like it's time for them to go home. Only 2 models left. Might be a bit of an overextension to be fair for these Nobs. One whole squad wipe going on over here. Warp Talon's now jumping over here, going to be focusing on these Shooter Boys. Shooter Boys would be a wonderful addition to the DPS of the Nob squad. If they can survive, obviously. Nobs not wanting to get into close combat with them will just decide to fire at them with their pistols. But I'm deciding, so I'm going to change the view a little bit. Will be engaging in close combat with these guys. Pound for pound, the Nob squad does come out on top. But the Talons, when they are excited from the drugs, would take it, but the severe lack of numbers, and those drugs only last for so long. Noise Marines now moving to the western side of the map. Grot's going to be in for a rude awakening when their listening post will be once again instantly cancelled by these guys if they do see it. They might even move past it, going for this relic instead. Big Mech back out on the field for the third time. Shooter Boys taking down this strategic point. Relic over here also being done in. Although Emperor's Children just very content with sticking with their Noise Marine focus build. Will take down another listening post, decapping that strategic point. 68 and 20 compared to 74 and 18, so both players on very low economy compared to what you would normally see at this stage of the game. We do have something to the point down here. Here's some more Warp Talon bands. A twin Sonic Blaster emplacement being placed over here. Nobs are probably just going to go for this point of excess and hopefully, fingers crossed, if they have their wits about them, probably go home. Oh dear, not quite. A little bit overconfident there. There we go. Well done, Nobs. Will now go back home. Big Mac going to join their ranks. Shooter Boys with their Nob leaders into War Banners, though. There used to be 2 over down here. There's now only 1, although it does look like that they still have the Ork cap, so I imagine that in Unification, when they lose their cap or their War Banners, they keep the cap, maybe? Or maybe it is just a number bug. Who really knows? We're not here for consistency, we're here for action, mischief, and all that jazz. Twin Sonic Blaster firing away into the Nob squad. They're going to regain their Nob leader. Focusing down once again on this point of excess. And to be fair, in a straight-up base race, the Nobs, with their power claws on the Nob leaders, would probably be able to wipe their way through the Emperor's Children base a lot quicker. That's probably why Yazoo's taking his lads back home. But they're not the quickest of lads. And they will be intercepted by these Nobs over here, which will slow them down even further. It's a difficult choice. Do they destroy these Nobs now and let the base get a bit more damage done to it, or do they just straight up run back home? Both points of access in the base have been taken care of. Warp Turbine also being destroyed. Nobs over here, not being brave, deciding to run back home for a little while. Although, mind you, the Orks have done enough damage. They could just walk away from this and still come out on top from the trade. These warp turbines, as you're probably familiar with by now, only worth 6 green money compared to the usual 10 of other races. 3 big shooters on these lads will quickly melt their way through the armour of these Noise Marines. Although the shooter boys don't want to stand around and see if they could take on a whole squad of Noise Marines. Will just walk their way back home. Nobs over here going to retake this point of excess once they smash up that wind sonic shooty thing. Another point of excess being built up over here by the cannon of the Fallen Titan. And what on earth was that sound? That was the sound of a fighter jet of some description. Not sure if that's any relation to anything going on in this game, or whether that's just the backing sound of some building that I've just clicked on. Sound equalization is not a strong point of this mod, I will be honest. Shooter boy's been reduced to just 3 in their number. Stayed around a little bit too long, getting shot by the plasma pistol of the Noise Marine champions. Warp Talon Band also putting in a shift. Listening post going down once again, and we're in the same situation where there's another base trade going on. We do have a assault rhino there, armed with some plasma guns. Yes, what is that? Fighter jet sound. It's a mystery. If you know in the comments, please let us know. Or maybe I'm just going insane and it's just the voices in my head now turning into Transformers. An angry star scream, no less. Assault Rider, living up to its name, is pushing these guys back. Not the tankiest of vehicles, you have to admit, but with that plasma gun emplacement, and oh dear, this Nob squad, caught between a rock and a hard place, a nightclub of death and destruction, no jumping juice left in the big mech for him to reposition to a better place. Second Assault Rhino moving in, more Nob squads coming round the side. We'll try and support their Nob allies. Big mech leaving the squad to see if he could tie up more guys. One Noise Marine does get taken down, and to be fair, although it seemed like a very advantageous situation for the Emperor's children, the assistance of the shooter boys and the big mechs separating himself into multiple squads and whatnot, they do seem to have come out on top in this engagement. Little warp turbine, a cheeky little emplacement going on here. Very brave turbine at that. Going to fall back into the warm, welcoming fire of this point of excess. Assault Rhinos, though, falling back into this little... Right, okay, right, what was that? That was a fighter jet doing something. Right, okay. So that is probably like a building animation, I assume, for the Emperor's children. That's going to be my prediction. The Assault Rhinos backing themselves into a bit of a corner. Pathing is not their friend. This Assault Rhino has been shot by the tank zappy bits from the Big Mech's custom gadgets. Assault Rhino dropping off some Noise Marines. Going to take down the Nob leader of this Nob squad. I need to put a little counter on the silence and find out how many times I've said Nob in this cast. Warp Talon Band chasing down the nobility of the Orks. On the eastern flank, the western flank, the Assault Rhino managing to pull away. Do have a war machine warp portal. Say that 10 times fast when you're drunk. And I'm generally honest, I'm not entirely sure who's got the advantage in this situation. Another Assault Rhino coming in. Big Mech teleporting away. 67 and 19 compared to 66 and 6. That's the unholy number. I think Slanesh's number is 6. Can't for life of me can't remember. I know that Nurgle's is 3 and 7, I want to say. Korn's is 5, maybe. I don't know why each Chaos God needs a number, but they do. Assault Rhino soon to be deaded if it doesn't get out. Going to do a excellent 3.1 turn and move away. Tank busters firing into the flanks of this assault rhino. Shooter boys living up to their namesake by shooting away. Noise marines piling out of this assault rhino. Second assault rhino, well, a third one coming out now, but there's only 2 left on the field. And it's a bit of a hodgepodge of a match, really. It's all to play for at the moment. Although the Nob squad, well, the sheer amount of Orks on the field at the moment, especially for the tank busters, the unit composition allowing them to go up against infantry, heavy infantry, and vehicles, will say that's probably in the favour of the Orks at the moment. Talon's doing some economic damage, but they really need to get back into the base and see if they can help defend. Nobility over here, capping. Does seem like that they lost their barracks at some point, did the Emperor's Children. Yazoo throws out the GG, and that is a victory for the Orks. So yeah, a bit of an odd game, but that's what we like, you know. Can never predict what goes on in a game of Dawn of War, especially these exciting unification games. Anyway, my name's been Mr. Landshark. Pleasure as always, never short, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace.